Welcome to another episode of the Grateful Gem Podcast. I'm the host, Jasmine Chanel, and today we are talking about getting back right. That's right, you heard me. Getting back right. Stick around because gems are definitely about to be dropped. So sit back, relax, and definitely get ready. Before I get into this episode, I need everyone listening to this podcast to follow the podcast on Instagram at The Grateful Gem Pod, and also follow your girl at Jasmine Chanel. Don't worry, I'll spell it out for you and put it in the episode notes. Okay, let's get started. As you know, the episode title is called Get Back Right. Yes, please, everybody just take a moment, take that in, get your pens, get your paper, let's take some notes, because I definitely want you to be able to look back on this day and realize that I'm finna be giving you some good information. So I just wanted to get that out the way. Okay, so the first reason why I titled this podcast episode Get Back Right is because that's actually what I'm currently doing in my everyday real life. I am taking the chance on getting back right to myself, getting back right to my family, to my friends, to everything, because I realized that I had been taking a break. I had taken time away from the small essential things that I normally do, and I haven't done them in years. Some of them not so long, but most of them were a good bit of time, I would say. Yeah, it's been a while. So the first thing there's actually three things. There's three things that led me to notice that, like, I need to give myself a wake up call. Like, Jasmine, you need to get it together. Like, stuff that you normally do, you're not doing it. And I don't know if it was just because I was being late. Well, no, I'm not going to say I don't know. I do know. I know what it was because of. And once I realized it, it was like, wow, I was really disappointed in myself. But that's okay because I'm getting back right. Y'all, you catch that. Okay. So I'm going to give you the three things that helped me notice what needed to get me back, that I needed to get back right. Sorry. So the first thing was confidence funk. So anybody that knows me personally knows me and knows that I like to make sure my appearance is kept up. Whether that's just making sure my hair is done, making sure that I'm putting on lotion, I'm taking showers, small things and necessities. Not saying that I don't take showers, because I do. But like the small things that I was neglecting, like keeping my hair done. I don't always have to have weave. I don't always have to have something that's just beyond my real hair. But when it comes to wearing my real hair, it was always like styled or kept up. Now, like here lately, I just be like, let me put on this scarf, let me put on this hat, let me throw this on. Oh girl, that ain't looking good. Oh well, we going outside. Anyway, normally that's not me. And I never forget when I was younger, my brother used to be like, where you going all dressed up? And I would literally be going to the corner store. And I'm like, I'm going around the corner to the corner store. And people will always tell me that. And I never understood it, because I'm like, listen, I'm just literally putting on clothes. But that just showed how much confidence I had in not only myself, but in my appearance and how other people saw me. Whether of how I felt on the inside, I wanted to make sure that I looked the part. I looked like I was going somewhere, regardless if even I was going to the corner store. I don't care if I was going to the mailbox. I never walked outside looking halfway. So here lately, I have been sleeping on that. Sometimes I'm just like, whatever, let me throw this bonnet on, let me put this house dress on, and I'm going out to the store, I'm going out to the car, I'm going all these places, and it's like, ooh girl, if somebody see you, ooh, what they gonna think? And I really don't care what people think, but I care what I think. So it took me a long time to actually get this to come to a head, but I'm glad that I've caught it, and I'm just getting back right, and I'm getting back right to myself. So that was the first thing that helped me realize that I needed to get back right, because I was in a confidence funk. And I realized I also had to take this deeper, because what brought that to light was I was doing a 3-day fast, and I'm also going to do an episode about that. I'm not going to go too much in depth about it today, but I am going to tell you guys the 3 fasts that I did within the last 2 months and how they were dramatically overwhelming. The last one was the most overwhelmingest, and I think it was because I was finding so much out about myself that I really didn't know about. So that was a bit much, but I was able to snap out of it, get with reality, and say that, okay, I need to get back right, because obviously I'm not aligned with my own body, I'm not aligned with my own self, and I just need to get back right. So the confidence funk stemmed from a lot of things. It was one, around the people that I had around in my life, in my circles, at work. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, negative, what do I want to say? Negative impacts from other people have the tendency to leak on to other people. So whether you intended on having a negative mindset, if you're having a positive day and somebody comes in front of you and they're like, girl, I'm just having the worst day and I just don't understand. I got to pay this and I ain't got no money. I ain't got no gas in my car. I ain't got no food in my house. And then it gets you to thinking like, ooh, girl, you complain about all that and I'm still sitting here trying to figure out how I'm going to do da-da-da-da. So you take that on, and it's not like a momentary thing. It's something that lingers with you for a long time, and it becomes normal to you because you don't even realize it, because it's what you're used to. Whether it's your friends, your family, work, it could be a stranger. Anybody that comes up to you with that negative impact can really have an impact on you. So you have to be mindful of who you keep around you, and when you know that people are being negative, you have to, one, bring them out of their negative sites and put positive into their mouth, and also remember that whatever you're going through, you have to speak positive over that situation as well. And that was also a reason why I wasn't able to be as confident as I was in myself, because I was going through a lot and I'm doing all these things and nothing's working out, or at least it looks that way. Everything is going to work out, but like I said, it didn't look that way. So I let that take, I looked literally how I felt. Let's just say that. And that's sad, because you can look at me and be like, oh girl, like, this not the Jasmine I remember. And people would tell me that, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how? And now I realize, and I'm like, girl, because you don't fell off. Like, you need to get it together. But it's okay, because we getting back right. 2019 is a year of getting back right, okay? And we don't got to take all year to get back right, because it didn't take that long to fall off. So let's be clear now. Anyways, so yeah. Confidence funk was the first thing, and it's a big thing, because you have to also take it to relationships when you're dating people as well. Not just your family, not just your friends, but if the person that you're dating, if they're not confident enough in their own self, and you've been with this person like for so long, and this person is just like utterly unconfident and insecure, those insecurities and that confidence that you had sucks out of you, and it goes to them. So when you see, like, and this is crazy, because like a long time ago I dated this dude, and I used to be like, when I saw him, I'm like, this dude, he's just so confident and arrogant and da-da-da. But once I got to really know him, I was like, oh, it's not that he's arrogant, it's not that he's confident, but he's really, really, really insecure. And sometimes when you see somebody and they look like they're well put together, and they look like they just know it all and they got it all together, it's really that they don't know it all. They don't have it all together, and they're really trying not to convince you, but they're really trying to convince themselves that I belong here. I'm going through this thing and I'm getting through it, but they're trying to convince themselves. And what we don't realize is, when we look at stuff like that, we just brush it off. But you have to be able to tell yourself, first of all, okay, that's how they want to be. I'm going to try my best to help them get out of that and help them with their insecurity. But it starts with yourself. You can't help somebody else if you can't help yourself. And that was crazy, because now it's crazy, because the confidence that I used to have, like, I would see this guy and I'm just like, wow, like, you're confident now. And me, I'm like insecure about all these things that I've never been insecure about. Stuff that I never cared about bothers me now. And it's just like, I can see every flaw, every detail in my body, in my face, in my attitude, in my personality that never bothered me before. And people will always say, oh, you're just so arrogant. You're just so arrogant. I'll never forget when I was in high school, I had this science teacher, and she was like, I don't know, she had it out for me. And I really got to say, I can't think of one thing that I ever done wrong to her, but I would get in trouble every day in her class. She had a parent conference with my parents, and she told them that I just thought I was the best thing in there, and I was confident and I was arrogant, but it was to a point where it was just ignorant, and I didn't know that. And it wasn't that I was arrogant. It wasn't that I was confident, because this is school. Like, what do you mean I'm arrogant and confident because I know the curriculum? Like, that's crazy. But it was because I was sure of myself. I knew that at the end of the day, regardless of what this teacher think about me, what this person next to me is saying in their head, whatever I came in here with, I'm going to succeed. And it's not because I'm arrogant, but it's because I'm going to be willing to work hard for it. And she didn't understand that. And that's also another thing that you have to understand too. With their confidence, people are not going to understand where your confidence comes from. They're not going to understand why you're so confident. They're not going to understand why you have so much confidence. Even if you're not, they're like, I ain't the best baddest chick out there, but I ain't ugly. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to tell yourself that. Even if a dude 10 dudes come up to you and say, oh, girl, you just the ugliest girl in the room, you have to be like, oh, no, I'm not. Let me go over here by this other dude, because he look like he gonna, appreciate the woman he see. But, people may laugh and think that's something small, but it's serious. Like, you have to take those small steps to boost your confidence back. And that's what I've been doing. Like, I've been doing the small things, like making sure my hair is on point. It don't gotta be laid and all that, but making sure I at least take the time out to do those things, because I really wasn't. And it was just like, wow, Jasmine, no, we can't do this. So I make sure that, I take a little extra time, make sure that I'm picking out my outfits instead of just throwing something on, making sure that my clothes are ironed, my things are laid out, just making sure that I'm kept up. Not only in the inside, because I've also worked on myself in the inside a couple months ago, and it feels so great. But I also want to make sure that my outside appearance matches my inside. And I don't have to be dressed up in this ball gown, but I want to be kept together, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to run a business, for one. For two, I don't want nobody to see me out in the streets, especially my future husband, because if he see me out in the street, Lord knows I know he gonna love me to my deathbed. But I want him to see me on point, okay? So yeah, I had to get that right. So that was the first thing, confidence funk. So ladies, gentlemen, whatever, if you are having a confidence funk, you really need to sit down and write down what it is that's sucking your confidence out of you. Is it people? Is it situations? Is it problems? What is it? Like, you need to write it down. You need to figure out how you can confidently boost your confidence back up, because that is the first thing that is going to get you through getting that right. You have to be confident not only in what's around you and what you're going through and where you're trying to go, but in your now. And not only in your now, but also definitely in yourself. So that's the first point, confidence funk. We're going to get out of that confidence funk. We're going to be confidently lit, okay? So yeah. The next thing is, what do I got? Flaws. Oh my God. So definitely flaws was a big thing for me. And I think it was because I did a fast recently. And the fast was really, really overwhelming. The fast was overwhelming because I learned a lot about myself. A lot of things that weren't good. Really, to be honest, all of them weren't good. I mean, they're not like a big judge, like, ooh, girl. But there were things that I really wasn't aware of. And now a lot of things that has happened in my life make sense because of these flaws. But I also learned to have to take that face value, look at front face, and say, okay, I got these flaws. How can I perfect them? Because at the end of the day, everybody has flaws, and people will take you with your flaws and all. But I genuinely was not happy with the flaws that I have. So I learned that I was very judgmental. I'm not going to say I'm judgmental. I'm very opinionated. And I give my honest truth, and I don't filter my opinion to others. Like, say I have like variety of friends. So some friends can take the honesty. Some can take honesty, but you have to give it to them in a certain way. Some people can't take the honesty, but I try to do my best to say the honest thing without telling them a lie, because I don't never want to sit here and lie to my friends or my family to say like how I feel. I want to be honest. But now I think about, I guess my flaw is I don't think before I speak. I just speak. And because it makes sense to me, and I'm like, well, you asked me, you wanted to know, I'm just giving you my honest opinion. And I didn't really figure out, like, yeah, everybody wants you to be honest, but some people can't really handle the truth. And not that, some, like, depending on the situation, the truth may be the far-fetched thing that people want to hear. So that was one of my flaws, and I'm also working on that now, because, when people ask my opinions, I have to just sit there and be like, okay, Jasmine, think before you speak. Do not let your mouth open if you do not have the right words to say to this specific person. Because like I said, everybody takes information differently. Me, I'm like, you can tell me the truth all day long. If I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you. We may go back and forth, but at the end of the day, that's just how I felt. I'm not going to feel no type of way. It is what it is. I'm going to say, okay, well, I still feel the way I felt. You feel the way you felt. Okay, well, whatever. And then later on, I'm like, girl, you remember that time we talked about such and such? Girl, you was right. Okay. But everybody, I have to realize that everybody isn't me. And I think that was a big problem that I have. People always tell me that. I have this one friend specifically. She's always telling me that. She's like, you have to remember that people aren't you. And I'm like, yeah. You know, it's easier. There's a lot of things in life that are really easier said than done. Because this is how I've been doing this for 20 odd something years. Like, I've been living this way all my life. I haven't never had to filter myself or change myself. And I'm not really doing that now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not filtering myself and changing myself. But I'm also changing how I approach things. I'm just learning to think about it before I just up and say, boom, this is what you need to hear. Boom, let me just give you this tea. Boom, let me tell you this, because you want to know and you ask it. So now I take a minute, I think about it, and I also reflect on what I'm saying. And then if I see, like, I also look at body language. So if I'm telling you something and I look and I'm like, oh, they're uncomfortable, like, I done hurt these people's feelings, God help me. So in my mind, I'm praying to the good Lord, like, Lord, please don't let this person take it the wrong way. I really don't know. I'm trying my best to do this thing, but it's really hard. But I also don't give up. I just keep trying. And if I look at you and I see that your body language is awkward, I'll just deteriorate to another word, or like try to tell it to you a different way. And also, disclaimer, I want to say that in this podcast, if it sounds like I'm short of breath and I can't breathe, it's because I am short of breath and I cannot breathe. My sinuses are killing me and my asthma is killing me worse. But I just wanted to put that out there. So if you hear me and trying to breathe and exhaling and inhaling, it's because I cannot breathe out my nose and I cannot breathe out my heart because I only got one lung. Okay? Sorry, no, all kiddingly. I have two lungs, but I do have asthma. So my asthma and my sinuses are arcing up. So again, I just want to give that disclaimer because I feel myself panting and breathing. But anyways, I want to put this podcast out there because I feel like somebody needs to hear this. And I'm not going to let my asthma or my sinuses stop me. So yeah. Anyways, but yeah, flaws is definitely a big thing that you want to look into yourself and figure out. What are your flaws? What makes you imperfect? And at the end of the day, some people like their flaws, you know. Some people are just like, oh, well, I'm just how I am. And, that's cool, that's cool. But me, I'm like, okay, this is just how I am, but this is how I am now. I don't want to be this way 5 years from now. I really don't want to be this way a year from now. Also, because again, not just because of my friendships, not just because of my relationships, but because of the business mindset that I have. I'm trying to do a lot of things business-wise. So I want people to be able to have those genuine business relationships and even relationships with my friends, my family, anybody, to be able to talk and me be able to respond in a etiquette way. Like, I don't want to just say something because I felt like it was the right thing. So I literally think before I speak now. So my flaws, and then, to be honest, when I found this out, I was really heartbroken because I'm like, dang, like I do that, and I couldn't understand it because for years I'm like, where people always like, oh, you judgmental, you always saying something to judge somebody, and I'm like, I'm not judgmental, I get this. I'm gonna give y'all the disclaimer. I always say, girl, because I be the first one not to judge because you do what you do and I do what I do, and we all gonna judge somebody else. Like, I tell people that all the time, like, listen, I ain't the one to judge you. And so when people come at me, they're like, oh, you being judgmental. And I'm like, how am I being judgmental? Because I'm giving my honest opinion. But then I had to step back from the back to see like where they were coming from. And I really had to pray about that also, to ask the Lord to reveal those things to me, because I'm like, I'm just working on myself, for myself, not by myself, but with God. And I'm also looking at, again, relationships, like whether like your flaws can kill a relationship or it can help a relationship to thrive. And also knowing how to conquer your flaws, like knowing how to maneuver them so that they're working for your good and they're not a flaw. So that's what I'm actually working on right now. I'm working on having my flaws work for me in a positive way and not a negative way. So I also encourage you to write flaws down on a piece of paper. Write out what you think is a flaw, what others say that you really don't agree with is a flaw, and just start noticing yourself when you're talking to people, how you're acting, when people tell you something that you really don't agree with, how you're responding. Like, just take a second to really look at those flaws and say, okay, maybe they were right. And even if you still feel like they weren't, just jot down how you feel, how that makes you feel, and just try to see how you can work your flaws and make them work for you. So yeah, that was another thing that helped me realize that I needed to get back right, because my flaws were like out in the open, and I was just like, wow, I'm not a bad person, but I have some crazy ways. And I'm still, don't get me wrong, I'm still the same person, because my friends will tell you all day long, oh, she gonna do this, or she'll say that, like, oh, don't do that, because I'm still the same person, but I'm learning how to love myself, and how to make my flaws and my imperfections work in the best way possible, so that they don't hinder me, but they also grow me. So I don't want anything in my life to pull me down. I want it to lift me up. So that's why I also pray in this fast about that too. And like I said, I'll get into the fast on another podcast episode. This ain't the episode for that, so we're gonna keep going. So that was flaws. So the last one is the best word, and I also posted this on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram or The Grateful Gem, I highly recommend that you do. You don't have to, because I don't really care about followers and likes and stuff like that, but I just like to keep everybody in the know. And my Grateful Gem Pie episodes are on there. I also have like words of the day that I feel like are on my heart. It's mostly 9 times out of 10 things that I'm going through and trying to get over. And this one, I posted this on Instagram on my Grateful Gem Pie account, which is validation. Let's take a moment of silence. Validation. This word is so heavy, and I say that because it has a lot to do with why I really wanted to get back right. Because I'm just a person that's like, listen, I don't need nobody validating nothing that I do. I'm going to do what I want to do. But then on the next side of that, it was like, okay, well, this is my place. Let me tell my friend, let me tell my family, or let me tell this stranger, or let me tell somebody about somebody what I'm doing. Like, let me tell somebody what I'm doing so they can agree with me, so I can get confirmation from them, like, girl, that's what you should be doing. But at the end of the day, I had to realize that what I see fit for myself, other people can't really see that. They only see what's on the outside. You can say, well, I'm going to do this and I have this plan. They're like, oh, that's a good plan, but do you think you should do that now? That's a good plan, but you think that's going to work? And also, sorry for that. Also, validation is really rough, because people are out here living their lives based off of somebody else. So they're living their life for somebody else they're living their life completing obstacles and making achievements in their life to get validation from people. Hey, that was a word. That was a gem. Y'all better pick it up, put it in your bag, because that was a good one. Anyways, but yeah, validation. Validation is so good, man, because it helped me realize that as long as I kept sitting here giving that disclaimer, but I didn't need validation, the more I sat down and I looked at it, it was like, girl, you say you didn't want validation. You say you don't care what people say. So why would people tell you that they don't agree with what you say, you get upset? And I'm talking about, I didn't just like get upset. I was just like, you know what, whatever. Like, I ain't telling nobody else nothing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, now I move differently when it comes to my plans. I tell certain people certain things, and certain people just don't know. They just find out on their own. And that's just me. I'm a private person. I live a private life. Only time you're going to know something about me is if I open up and I let you know. So 9 times out of 10, not 10 times out of 10, if you know something, it's either because I opened up and told somebody else that told you, or I openly came out and told you. And I do that because, one, I've been through a lot of obstacles in my life where I tend to question myself about the plans that I want to do. I'm sorry, that was all messed up. I tend to question myself about the plans that I have for myself. Yeah, okay, girl, get it together. So yeah, like, say for instance, say it's, what's today, Saturday? Okay, today's Saturday and tomorrow's Sunday, but I really want to go out of town, but I have to be to work on Monday. But there's like this good deal or something going on where I can get it done and just enjoy myself because I need a vacation or some self-care time or something, whatever. I had this plan out. It's going to work out perfect, and I can still get to work on Monday and not really be tired. And say I'm like, okay, cool, I got this plan out, I planned it out. Let me call my homegirl and tell her about my plan so I could just, just talk. And then she like, well, girl, don't you think that's kind of crazy? Like, it's such and such time on a Saturday, and you talking about going somewhere on a Sunday when you got to work on Monday? And I'm like, you know what, girl? Well, because, and then I'm, not only am I getting upset, but I'm sitting here and I'm defending my stance. And that's a big no-no. And that, for me, I cannot sit here and say how many times that I've let people tell me their opinions, tell me their plans, or how they felt about something. And I never really stood up to or fight against how people feel. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I get what you understand. Like, no, that's not true, da, da, da. But now it's just like to a point where it's like, I'm just going to fight until I get you to say, oh, okay, now I see it. Or, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. And in reality, it's like validation. I needed that validation. I needed you to say, girl, that's smart. You should do that. Instead of just trusting myself and saying, no, girl, do what you want to do. Like, we're not doing that. Do what you want to do. If this is what God planned for you and he confirmed it, nobody else can validate what he's doing. You don't need validation to be who God created you to be. And that is what I'm living by to this very moment in my life. Regardless of how many people disagree, regardless of how many people may talk about it, may talk about me, about the situation, I do not care. Validation is no longer needed in my life. Of course, I'm going to call my friends and be like, girl, yeah, this is what I'm doing. And sometimes I won't call them. I'll wait until I get more secure in my plan and I'm praying about it and God's revealing things. And once this plan is secure, and when I feel like it's okay for me to say things, then I open up and I'm like, girl, yeah, I'm planning this and I'm doing this and da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And boom, successful. And a lot of times that also goes back to confidence. Validation, people need validation to also stroke their confidence. And that goes back to seeking from people. Like, you have to be confident. You can't expect people to give you the essentials that you're supposed to give yourself. You can't expect people to be the water that you need to bloom your flower. Like, you can't. And it's sad because people don't take the time out to look into their lives and really see what's going on. We're so caught up in social media. We're so caught up in swerving in somebody else's lane, trying to live their life and drive their car down their lane when we're supposed to be in our own hoopty, pushing the brakes to the floor until it's time for us to go. And I also feel like, a lot of people, they don't really know who they are. And it's because they are getting validation from people. Their confidence is through other people, and they can't accept their flaws. And that was my story of my life. Literally, this is what I'm going through now, and I'm turning it around. Since this week, I've been doing things differently, and it feels better. Besides my sinuses and my asthma, maybe I need to fast and pray about that because I just cannot deal with it right now. But at the end of the day, I don't let it stop me. And like I said, I really could not believe that I let these things go. And this wasn't something that just happened for you. I've been having these problems for maybe about 2 or 3 years. I don't even go as far as to say 4 years. I've been having these 3 problems. And it's sad because it's like, God, 3 years, Jasmine? Like, and it was like, I noticed small things, but it was like, I'm like, girl, you just having a rough day. And I never forget, like, I used to call my ex-boyfriend. I used to tell him, like, oh, I just don't feel pretty today because I have eczema. And sometimes my eczema, it does what it wants to do. So aside from sinuses and asthma, I have eczema. And not only do I have eczema, but I have it in my face. So when you look at me, it's like sometimes you'll see like these light spots. Sometimes my face is like crusty. I done put like a whole bunch of olive oil or shea butter or my eczema cream on there. Like it just varies. It does what it wants to do. And on those days where would be days where my eczema wasn't even showing, like you couldn't even tell I had eczema, but I just didn't feel pretty. And I'm like, I would call him and I'm like, man, I just don't feel it today. Like, I don't understand what you see. I don't see that person. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I just rather look at somebody else. And he would be like, what? Like, you need to calm down. Like, what's wrong with you? Da, 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 da. And I'm just like, thankful that I had those conversations with the right people, because imagine how that confident and insecurity conversation would have went with the person that at that very moment, not saying that he's not insecure or unconfident, because we all have those. We all have flaws and we have to learn to live through them, but not let them live our lives. But just imagine having that moment where you're like, God, I can't do this. Like, I don't feel pretty. I don't feel like getting up to put on no makeup. I don't feel like doing my hair. I don't feel like taking whatever I need to do. I don't feel like eating right. Like, I don't feel like doing this. And imagine picking up that phone and telling somebody that. And the other person on the phone is like, yeah, don't do it because I ain't doing it. I just feel like at the end of the day, we all need a day to ourselves. And whatever, girl. If you've been feeling, you were saying that last week too. But that's okay because this my week and we can be down together. And then that day turns into 2 days. And that 2 days turn into 2 weeks. 2 weeks to 2 months. Like, you see what I'm saying? It goes on. So you have to be able to be around people that can uplift you. Whether it's the smart, like, girl, you know you is not ugly. You got that big old head, but you ain't ugly. See, I'm goofy, y'all. So don't take my jokes personal. I'm not talking about you. I can't see you. I don't know if you have a big head. But I'm just saying. You know, my friends, I have one friend, my best friend actually. She be like, girl, you just so bald-headed. You bald-headed. Now, imagine if I was really insecure about my hair. I'd be like, girl, listen, don't keep calling me bald-headed. Because I really don't got no hair for real. Like, but I know that she's joking. And on a rough day, I know I can pick up the phone and call her and be like, girl, listen, let me just go and tell you how I'm feeling, girl. I'm feeling like I'm bald-headed. I'm feeling like my skull is on the ground. Like, I'm dramatic. Also, if y'all haven't caught that already. But, you know, some stuff, it'd be like, what, girl? And I know that she gonna be like, girl, no, you know, I know you only got 2 strands of hair, but you got hair. Like, and I know that at the end of the day, she means it in a positive way. And, you know, you can't be like that with everybody. That just goes back to filtering yourself to how people need you. Because some people don't want to joke when they're really upset or when they're crying. But me, I'm a goofy person. I'm goofy at heart. I'm a jokester. And she's goofy just along with me. So it works. But imagine picking up that phone, calling her at that moment, and she not being able to uplift me. Imagine how that not only affects me, but it also affects her. And then imagine me calling somebody else and they're down, how that affects them. And then they're calling somebody else, or she's calling somebody. You see what I'm saying? Like, it goes from 1 person to 2 people to 10 people in one day. And we're all in this funk, and we don't really know it because that's where we are comfortable. So we have to get out of our comfort zone. And in order to get out of our comfort zone, we have to do a self-care plan. And that is just basically looking at what your essential needs are. Not just getting your hair done, not just getting your nails done, but actually looking at ourselves internally, our heart, our mind, and seeing how we can get through whatever we're getting through, whether it's confidence, whether it's our flaws, whether it's validation, whether it's loneliness, whether it's depression, whether it's weight loss, whether it's anything, like not feeling wanted, whatever it is, you have to be able to actually be real with not only everybody else, but first of all, be real to you. You can't be real to nobody else if you sitting there every day lying to yourself. Talking about, girl, you just look like the baddest thing in the world. Knowing that you ain't did your hair, you ain't took no shower, you ain't washed your face, and one of your eyebrows is like real thin, and it look patchy. At the end of the day, sis, that's what you want to do. Do it, but don't lie to yourself and then get upset with your friend. Like, girl, did you clean yourself up today? Cause oh, it smell kind of funny. But seriously though, you have to be able to take that time to take care of yourself, not just outside but inside as well. And that's actually what I'm doing till this day. I'm getting through my self-care plan, and it's actually been great. Like, I've been able to just take that extra second to do my hair, take my extra second to lay my clothes out, take that extra second to eat right, whether it's just 1 minute or a day, whatever. I'm taking baby steps. Don't judge me. Okay? But yeah, so I hope that all of this information was very helpful. I know this podcast episode is a little long, but I would love to just get out all the information, and I pray that you listen to it and that it hits you dead in the center of your heart, and you take that time to literally sit down in front of a mirror if you have to. Get you a dry erase marker right on your, and that's also something that's going to be a part of my self-care plan. I have this huge mirror wall, whatever, in my dining room. I hate it. Everybody's like, oh, I just love it. I'm like, I hate it. Literally, that's what I say. I hate it. But I'm going to go to the store and get me some dry erase markers. And I'm just going to write on there, not even affirmations, because I don't believe in affirmations. I'm just going to write on there what I need, what I'm doing, where I'm at. Like, at the end of the day, this happened, but like, whatever, like my confidence funk. So whenever I get upset, I can go to that wall and be like, okay, confidence, I'm confident. I can do this, whatever my flaws. And I can be reminded of what I'm working through so that when those things come over me or when I feel like I'm being succumbed by those things, I can look at that wall and I can say, oh, girl, you was tripping, but now you back. So that's all I have for you today. Hopefully it hits home to you. Hopefully someone else can hear this or you can share this with somebody else and they're inspired to actually take that time and get back right. Y'all know that Lecrae song? I'll get back right. I had to get back right. Y'all be sleeping on Lecrae, but I be over here listening to him. Hey, fell off. Dirty my shoes. Oh, some of y'all, when y'all shoes get dirty, y'all be upset. So remind yourself that your body and your mind is your shoe. When you buy them new Forces or the new Jordans, I don't wear Jordans personally, but if you do, that's shoe. And if somebody step on your shoe or them heels that you just bought, you're going to be upset. So remember that when it comes to your life, because it is so important. We have to treat ourselves just as well and better as we treat our items or other people. Some people have so much love and compassion for everybody else, but when it comes to their self, they're dying. So I am here to bring you back to life. We're going to pour some water over the seed that God has planted in this earth, which is you. And you may not be blooming right now, but you are planted under. And I just pray that you take heart and be real with yourself. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Let me know how you felt about this episode. Don't forget to rate on iTunes. Let me know. Hit me in my DMs on IG because I'm not on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. But if you need me, holla at me. Get in my DMs. Let me know what y'all feeling. If y'all like the episode, what y'all want to hear, let me know. I appreciate y'all listening. Thank you so much. And don't forget to keep shining as the gems you are. Bye.